Hey, VC here. So this is a trainer companion. Kind of liked the other one that I did, which I actually have a ton. I called them race casts, where I would basically do a little like podcast over the top of a race. So I'll link that playlist. I have many more trainer companions. I just call them race casts. So you can dive into those if you like. But this is to be thrown on while you're on the trainer and listen to me just make vegan excuses for an hour. So first vegan excuse here at the Jeremiah Bishop's Alpine Loop Gran Fondo, because we're going through the 4 time segments. Okay, they're very long. They're other than the fourth one, I think they're all 20 minutes plus. So anyway, I don't have metrics, bro, and I'm sorry. Okay, it just is what it is. The power pedals that I brought with me, one of them died right like at the start of this, and then I was trying to calibrate and I couldn't calibrate. So I just had some issues with the power, and so then when I was like putting the power on, it's saying I'm doing like 200 watts right now. It's like, well, dude, clearly I'm not doing 200 watts. And so then if I put the power on, it would just be all day long a vegan excuse of me being like, well, okay, don't really look at it. Yeah, it says 120 watts, but it's not really 120 watts. So I just left off the metrics. Deal with it. So we're here in Virginia. Harrisburg, Virginia is where it starts. And dude, I'm way in over my head. The kids in the pink are from the Xavier school for the special. I mean, it's like literally an X-Men school. Looks like an X-Men school. And they're high school students, but the whole school is designed around cycling. So I was jokingly asking a guy, like, so what, you have geography homework and then 40/20s? And he's like, yes, that's exactly what we have. It's like, what? And so it's a private school. It's probably expensive as balls. But dude, it's like, it's centered around cycling. And that's so amazing because so many other schools, like high schools or whatever, dude, if you ride bikes, you're kind of a dork. It's much more focused on, hey, dude, throw this helmet on and smash your head against other kids while holding a ball. You know what I mean? And look, my kid did football. He wanted to do football. We did football. And I played football when I was in high school. It's just, dude, I don't know, man. Cycling is a really amazing sport. But it's a sport that you sort of need to have other people around you that are interested in it. Like riding by yourself, it's almost not the same sport. And so having all these kids sort of just be at the school together, dude, it's just really cool. So they're flying, and they have national champions, Huggins Berman, bro, super fast, Jeremiah Bishop, dude, okay, I still didn't really even understand his scope or like how amazing he is until I came out here with him. When I first met him in Vermont, I just thought he was a Canyon rep, and so it's like that I didn't know that he was anything special. He's a special guy. And in the last trainer companion, we talked a lot about being a doucher and how you should not do that. And Jeremiah is such a non-elitist doucher that you will mistake him for like a low-level Canyon rep, even though he's a national champion and like a seriously top athlete in America. His accolades are insane, and his skill is just unreal. But you don't get that vibe from him. You just get a vibe that he's just a dude. And so then when like he took me out on a mountain bike course on Sunday on like gravel bikes, dude, the stuff he was doing was like, oh, you're a pro. You're a real pro. I'm not, And so it was kind of embarrassing, dude, to try to hang on his wheel. And the stuff he was doing, dude, like the technical skills he has is just crazy, bro. So anyway, Jeremiah Bishop is just a class act, just a solid guy. And the level of elitism that he has is a 0. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about training because I'm not doing very good during this event, and I'm gonna go through the kind of the results and break down the results as well. But so let's jump like kind of right into one of the first vegan excuses, which is the bike I'm on. Now, before I talk shit on this bike, I want to say that the Canyon Endurace might be one of the best. It probably, in my opinion, is the best bike in Canyon's lineup because it's so versatile. If you ride road, long road, if you just like riding road, 100 miles, super comfortable. Okay, great, very capable to do that. But if you wanted to jump into a road race or a crit once or twice in the year and sort of dabble, bro, 100% capable to do that. And then you can throw some knobbies on and now have a cross bike or a gravel bike. I mean, it's just, it spans so much opportunity, right? So it's an amazing bike. But all these guys here are on like their $10,000, road machines. So I probably wish that I had been on a full-on road bike, like either brought my Ultimate or been on an air road or something. I mean, just the amount of, like, the efficiency level of this bike over this given amount of time and how hard these guys were going makes a big difference, dude. It makes a big difference. And so I felt like this bike was pretty soft, very comfortable, and the gearing, even like the SRAM E-Tap, dude, was so amazing, or however it was like electronic shifting, and it was great, but the gear ratio was a little bit more set up for gravel, so, I was kind of bouncing between grinding and spinning. But, now that I kind of think about it, like, I kept thinking, gosh, if I just had a real road bike, if I had a proper road bike, I'd be able to stay with these guys. That's kind of the excuse that I was just throwing in my head because I was going hard, dude. I was going very hard. Perceived exertion through the roof. But, dude, so in cycling, you can't be on form all year long. It doesn't work like that, okay? So if you understand fitness and fatigue and form, it just, you'll have your times in the year where you peak, and then you have to recover from that. And if you build a solid base, then you build a peak, you're gonna, like, you come up this hill, you're gonna then have a valley. And this is sort of at the end, it is at the end of the year. I've had quite a smashing year leading up to this. Okay. I peaked in February for road race season, which I got 3 seconds. I did really, really good in like February and March. I then peaked again for the Chico stage race, which I got 7th overall in GC, but had some of the best legs I've ever had. I then peaked again for Belgian Waffle Ride, and then did the Dirty Kansas and did really well at the Garden State. I mean, just like the training camp, the cycling camp, I did my Yosemite cycling camp, which I ended up in May, hit 385 watts for 20 minutes. Wildly my best 20-minute power. So when you think about it like that, dude, how can I have expected my body to just continue to give me PRs? And so it's like, okay, like a vegan, the funny thing is like, oh, it's always a vegan excuse. It's always an excuse. But when you don't do well, or you don't do what you expected you to do, you need to understand why. And so then, yeah, like, okay, me saying the bike I'm on is not as efficient. That's an excuse, right? Because put any of these other guys on this bike that I'm on that are like, put the winner of the event on this bike, he's still going to win the event. Okay, so that's an excuse. But to understand, hey, dude, I gotta come down. I gotta bring the fitness down a little bit and recover. You can't just always be smashing. And so, my FTP in 2019 ranged from about 280 watts at its lowest, which is now-ish, right, the end of the year, to 365 watts or something like that at its highest. I mean, that's a crazy spectrum of in 1 year. And I haven't really been training because I've been doing all of these events and trying to handle the day job. But so anyway, that's kind of the explanation of why I don't think I performed as well during this event. It's all good though. The roads are beautiful. I am though in the process of getting chicked. What is getting chicked? Well, getting chicked is like getting flicked, but by a woman.
And I know that already this is going down like a rabbit hole that could get me canceled. You know what I mean? But it's just a thing, you know what I mean? Where a lot of guys have a lot of ego, and man, getting dropped by a woman is tough pill to swallow. But she is, I believe, the winner of the New York Gran Fondo. So she is very good. She's super legit. And so I'm kind of yo-yoing back and forth on this, trying to stay on this group, and it just wasn't happening. And that's all good. I've been chicked a couple times, and that's all right. You just got to take it for what it is. And dude, there's some women, dude, that are powerhouses and just fantastic cyclists. And so not putting, in no way is the intention to say I'm getting chicked to put someone down. It is what it is. If you want to make it gender neutral, then you could say I'm getting chicked, and then anytime I get dropped by a guy, I'm getting dicked. I guess that would be equality, chicked and dicked. I don't know, dude. We'll just jump off that topic real quick because that's a hotbed one where I get my YouTube channel revoked.
So I yo-yo, dude. I keep yo-yoing. I'm like, no, dude, I'm gonna get back on the group, and there's nothing there. I just wasn't feeling good on this climb, which is a big climb. It's a very big climb. So I've got the results that I'm gonna kind of reference here as we go, which is I got 20th overall. The winner, Benjamin Wright, who, dude, he won by 9 minutes. Okay, he beat me by 17 minutes and 33 seconds, but he also beat second place by 9 minutes. Okay, so just like, the results were like an hour 8, an hour 9, 9, 9, 9, an hour 11, 11, 11, 11, 12, 12, 12, 13. You know what I mean? It's like, if you looked at this, you'd be like, oh, Benjamin Wright was on an e-bike, because he's just so fast. Crazy, dude, crazy. And he didn't actually even, now that I'm looking at it, he didn't even win. Something must have happened to Eddie Anderson. So Eddie Anderson, he won by like 15 seconds this first climb, but then he got 23rd on the second climb. So he must have had a mechanical or some sort of issue. Also, he got 49th on the fourth. Eddie Anderson maybe have had some mechanicals. That's maybe why Benjamin Wright had won by so much. But either way, dude, I got 14th on this segment, 14th overall, and 21st on the second, 21st on the third, 20th on the fourth, giving me 20th overall. But so 14th, I finished in the age group 30 to 34. I won this segment, which is surprising. It's really surprising that I won 14th. I feel like there has to be way more people up the road. So I don't know if just because I Strava hacked it, where maybe I was so far off the back. I'm not sure, dude. I'm not sure. I felt like I did absolutely terrible on this climb, but when you look at the results, maybe not so bad. What was my times? 20 minutes, 34 seconds. Winner was 17 minutes. I was like a minute off the lead group. I guess that's not as bad as I thought. It just feels bad because no one's around me. Everyone was going away from me. It was riding away from me. It's all good, dude. It's all good. So what else? Virginia, beautiful. Really liked. There's some big climbs, man. And that's the thing about these time segments is they, almost all of them were 20 minutes. Let me go back to my deal here. So 20 minutes first time segment, 22 minutes second time segment, 31 minutes third time segment, 2 minutes. So 20, 22, 31 for the first 3 segments, right? So, at the Garden State Fondo, the shorter effort, and here's the thing, is like shorter efforts, when you're not on form, when you don't have really like solid form, you can kind of fake it for like a 2, 3, 4, 5 minute effort, maybe even a 10-minute effort. You can really dig deep. You can scrape the edge of the barrel. But when you get into the 20-minute efforts, the 30-minute efforts, I'm sorry, dude. There's no faking it. It is what it is. You're gonna have to have some fitness, and like I already said, I didn't really have any here. And so when you watch the video, I think it kind of comes across that I was hurting. My stoke level was through the roof until this climb, and then I was sort of defeated. Right? I was like, oh man. You know what I mean? I'm not really going to be competitive. These guys are snapping video and pictures, and I'm just off the back. So, it's okay. It's one thing to when you don't do good. Because, dude, every cyclist, even at the highest level, bro, sometimes Peter Sagan gets dropped, and he doesn't do well. And everyone at some point is going to have bad days. I seem to have more bad days than I have good days. But when you have a bad day, dude, sometimes you just like want to dip out. You know what I mean? You want no one to know. And I think there's a lot of times where it's like I have to report on how I did. And that kind of gets in my head a little bit. We talked about that last time. Just how much it rattles around in my head. Like shit, dude, people are going to see that I didn't do good. And I got to get that out of there, dude. I got to just kind of making the sound of wiping my hands. Like just clean my mind of that. And when you're on a structured program, you can really gauge like what you can and can't do. So when you come into an event, you'll know, hey, dude, I can do this for 20 minutes. I cannot do that for 20 minutes. So anyway, so I'm on this guy's wheel and he just rides away from me. And I'm just a little like, dude, this is a bummer, I'm getting just roasted by everyone. And so, again, the bike I'm on, the Endurace, I think it was so comfortable. It's such a comfortable bike, and it's such a capable bike. Definitely. But definitely, if you're going to do the Alpine Loop Gran Fondo, I'd suggest full road, as you can go. Because just think about the amount of miles. There's like something like 90 miles, 95 miles of road. So there's just so much time, so much efficiency. If your tires, if you're running 30s or like, if the bike's just soft, like say, so the total time was 7 hours and 33 minutes. Let's say this bike is 15 watts less efficient at any given point, right? That's not that bad if you're doing an hour. But over 7 hours, a 15 watt average difference, you know what I mean? Like to go the same speed, right? It's just like a little bit less efficient. Boy, that adds up. And so, the second time segment is very steep and very gravelly. And so, having the right gears and the right bike, I think is definitely, that's difficult. But even if you just walked that time segment, even if you just walked the gravel, dude, I think you would have a better time, or you'd overall feel better over the whole thing. Versus that I had a bike that I think was set up for some aggressive gravel. Like, dude, I could fly some gravel on this thing, which was great. But there just wasn't enough. I was really hoping there'd be more gravel. Even though I think there's one gravel time segment, and then there was another little gravel area, which was pretty fun, pretty cool. But you know, it's this I think is much more of a road fondo than a gravel fondo. Beautiful fondo nonetheless, but big climbs, man. Garden State was lots of like, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. This one, dude, is much more like California. It's much more, you're gonna have 3 or 4, right, big kicks to the dick, and you can kind of mentally get on board with once you get over one. It's like, okay, I got some time before we get to the next one, and I've got some time to recover, and I really like that, dude. So there's the end of the first time segment, and we kind of hang out here, and you can see all these kids in the pink just laughing, dude. They're just like, oh, dude, we're 14 years old, and no worries. Like, boy, this guy is old. So now we're going into the second time segment, which was very close to the first time segment. There was a small descent, a small rest stop, and then, man, you'd like basically right into it. And bro, look at this. I mean, it starts at the base of this climb, and you hit this gravel section. And so, this is where this bike was really shining. This is where this bike was hooking up. I wasn't having really a whole lot of trouble with keeping the tire from spinning, or keeping traction. I had some good gearing. The SRAM axis, I believe, is what I'm also running. It was good. There was a lot of gear choices. And so if you had, I had been talking about having a road bike, this is where, whatever, I think this is like maybe 7 miles long. This segment's not very long, but this is definitely where a gravel bike is going to come into to benefit. And if you have like 23s, like imagine if you had 23s on a road bike with, a standard gear set of 50, like a 56 39 and an 11 23. Dude, there's no way you're getting up this. Like you're going to be putting out way too much torque, and you just be slipping. And there was a couple spots here where it was so steep that if you kind of messed up and slipped, like your rear wheel slipped, and you unclipped, dude, you're walking your bike for a while up until you can find like a good spot to get back on. So having myself a little bit of that HVMN drink right now. As you can kind of see, I'm drinking some of that ketone drink, which for me, dude, it really works well. I'm a huge fan of that HVMN. It's super expensive. Okay. And I got one free box, but that was it. And so, it works. It just flat out works. And if the more you're fat adapted and the more you've been fasting, then the better it is for you, or the more that you can get out of it. Okay. So when you're fat adapted, then you can use ketones at a higher zone. And I'm no scientist, dude. I'm an idiot. But from what I can gather from other smarter people talking about this, is that, you can run off sugars or you can run off fats, or like carbohydrates or ketones. And those are two totally different fuel sources, basically two totally different motors. Now, ketones, they're slow for your body to make them, and that's what I guess a bonk is, right? Is that when you run out of sugars, because you can only store 2,000 calories of sugar at a time, you run out of sugar, you bonk, because your body can now only create ketones out of fats, and that's a slow process. But when you train that and you become fat adapted, it becomes not a slow process. That dude in the blue slipped and stopped the pink guy, and now they're walking for a while because it's going to be so hard to get back on the bike at that point. You know what I mean? So anyway, so for the most part, ketones usually seem to work really well at like zone 1, 2, maybe low zone 3, if you haven't trained it at all. And so that's what people are like, dude, it's stupid. It's pointless. But what I find is that since I do intermittent fasting all the time, is that I can use those ketones as a fuel source at like mid zone 4
and even maybe to the higher in zone 4. Once you start going over that zone 5 and zone 6, it's carbs. But when you have both of those, when you drink the ketones, now you have like 2 motors. So you're using ketones during your zone 1, 2, and 3, and then you're using your carbs for 4, 5, 6. Sometimes, like I said, it kind of blends in there between zone 4, and so then you're just feeling really good. It almost just slabs on watts. And so I took the ketone drink. One of the first times I took it, it was during that Zwift race against Cam Jeffers, and I set all sorts of PRs. One of the next times I did it at the Chico stage race. I was holding 350 watts forever, for an hour. And so the 2 times that I have done 350 watts for an hour has all been on ketones. And if you think okay, so for me doing, between 330 and 340 or 320 and 340, something like that is all ketones, and anything higher than that's probably dropping into the carbs. So, whatever, dude, try it yourself and make your own conclusion. But for me, those the HVMN drink it works, dude. It works. And Team Sky was all over it. One of the things that I had heard from the HVMN is that when it was first being developed, it was $2,000 a bottle, and Team Sky would drop them and they were in glass bottles because it was acidic or something. So it was eating the plastic. I'm not really sure, dude. But he was just saying it was a rough start to trying to get it introduced, but now it's getting cheaper and cheaper. And if you bought one, it's $100, right, for a box of 3. And you don't have to drink all of one at one time. I've on a road race one time, I split half. I just took half, and then was going to see how I was doing. And if I was in contention for doing something awesome, I'd take the other half. But just say you have those, you buy 1 box for the year. Okay. And you should have 2 to 3 A races in the year. So just take one during that A race. And it's just going to kind of ensure that you're going to perform close to the best that you possibly can. That's it. So back to this gravel deal here. I was pretty full gas. Which, I'm not really passing anybody. I'm not doing super great, but I like gravel. I like gravel a lot. I race motorcycles, dirt bikes. I take my son out. We ride motos, dirt bikes, once to twice a week. We raced a local series, So I like dirt, dude. I feel at home on dirt. And there's a certain way to climbing gravel that sort of takes a skill set. It's not just power. I mean, power obviously helps on everything. But if you're just a powerhouse, then you're actually you could lose traction, you could spin your wheel. You kind of have to know how to apply the pressure and sort of ride the dips. And if you're just heavy on the seat, it's not so good. So there's just adds a little bit. It adds more to how you're doing, if that makes sense. And that's one thing, dude, I really like about mountain bikes. Okay, so ride all the bikes. Yeah, ride all the bikes. Guy to the right there, that's Andres. He got third in the 30 to 34. Me and him sort of were battling the whole time. But anyway, mountain bikes, dude, is badass because you don't necessarily have to have a 20-hour-a-week training program. A lot of mountain bikers in my area, dude, they don't train at all. But their skills are so good that when we go ride together, maybe they have a 200-watt FTP and I'm on friggin' flying form. It's like a wash because they're just able to get over the technical stuff with such ease. And so it kind of creates this separation where, you can't just will yourself into having talent or skill. That takes time, I mean, so does fitness. It takes time to gain fitness. But what I'm saying is that I really like when there's a part of a race or a part of a ride that adds complexity or adds depth. So it's not just all about straight up watt per kilo. Like Zwift is nothing but watt per kilo. That's just who's the strongest one. I mean, for the most part, whoever's winning the race is going to have the higher watt per kilo average. You can pretty much on paper go, okay, I know who's going to be in the top 3, right? With road racing, you get into a little bit more of knowing how to ride your bike and knowing what moves to go with and that sort of thing. But then when you get into gravel racing, dude, all of the other things still apply, power and knowing how to race and all these other things. But then just the skill set of being able to, not unclip and take right lines. And there's like, dude, I don't have the metrics on, but this is like 20% right here. It is so steep, dude. So steep. So you just have to kind of trust me on that. And when it's really steep like this, so it's not only is it steep, but it's a loose gravel, and it's long, like you're having to pace, but you're also having to keep a straight line. Like, do you see all the gravel in the middle of the road? And now there's a car coming, and there's a dude where I need to go. If I cross over that gravel in the middle at the wrong time and wash the front or slip the rear, I'm not going to be able to, like, the whole segment's going to be ruined. Because especially in this spot, I'll have to walk my bike a long ways. And yeah, I'm just riding because I wasn't ready. What are you doing, car? Get out of my way. I needed to get across that little gully of rock, at the right time. So we're riding, and it's beautiful. Now the front group, the front fast guys, they spent very little time at the rest stop. They were like in and out, gone. And I spent maybe more time at the rest stop than I probably should have. Just because the first half of this ride, man, it took me a while to get into it. This week, so this was Saturday, I had not ridden. I want to say I think I rode Tuesday, like an hour, and that was it. And so coming into this, I had multiple back-to-back days off the bike. And so sometimes, dude, that just sort of puts your body into like a recovery mode. Other thing to mention, 283 right there. Look at that. He's wearing the collection of jerseys that I designed and came out with. That's the forests. It's called the Elements collection. And so there was 4. There was wind, water, earth, and fire. And that was the earth jersey. Dude, I was so proud of that collection. It was awesome. So anyway, you see these guys just grinding, man. And, when it's steep like this, and it's, again, what I was saying is super technical, you got to make sure that you don't blow yourself up. Because there's certain pitches that take, 300 to 350 watts just to stay upright. And if you blow yourself out in the beginning, you won't have that watts, and then you'll just fall over, dude. Just fall over. What's that on that guy's side? A vest, maybe? At one point, there was a cow out on this road, and then I think a bunch of people were having a hard time getting around him. And he was super loud. It sounded like a dinosaur. So to go back to the results here, I did 22 minutes and 43 seconds. That is what I did on this segment here. And if I filter this by 30 to 34, yes, do that. So I wish that I want to see, I can't. So this guy, Alex Hashman, from Harrisonburg, he got 9th on this one. He did 21 minutes, 27 seconds. So an hour and 15 seconds, a minute and 15 seconds faster than me. But then he had a real big, like the third one, he totally cracked on. But so what did I got 21st, but out of the age group, I got second here. So I was second fastest. First fastest in the first one, age group. Second fastest on this one. And then first fastest. So for age group, I went 1-1, or I went 1-2, 1-1. And overall, I went 14, 21, 21, 20. The fastest time up this was 16 minutes and 54 seconds by Benjamin Wright. That's so insane, dude. 17 minutes. That's insane. Good for him. Anyway, what else is going on? Okay, so let's jump to a totally different topic. Let's change some gears here, which is relationships. I've seen in comments and people have said, you're so lucky that your wife lets you do these things, lets you ride all the time, and she supports you. And yes, dude, I am super fortunate to have a smoking hot, badass wife. But, the thing is, dude, is that you give 100%, you can expect 100%. And so a lot of times if someone's like, man, my wife would kill me if I rode for 2 hours or 3 hours on a Saturday. But would you be pissed at your wife or your significant other? Let's just say, would you be pissed at your significant other if they came to you and said, hey, this is really important to me. This is like something that I really like to do and it keeps me healthy and mentally, like this is what I like to do. Would you be like, no, you can't do that? And if you got to be honest with yourself, maybe potentially your answer is, yeah, dude, I don't want my significant other doing anything. They need to be working. They need to be doing these other things. Okay, whatever. But if your answer is, I would support my significant other in anything she wants to do or they want to do, then you should expect the same in return. Now, obviously saying like, oh, I expect my wife to support me, sounds like a male chauvinist pig thing. But I give 100% to her. And that's sometimes in the smallest ways, right? Just making sure that she's happy and she's healthy and she has everything she needs. And I support her in a lot of different ways, financially, emotionally, mentally, just everything. And so like, there's just little times where, I've been working all day. I'm super stressed. Like whatever it is, like I'm not on cloud nine. I'm like a little roughed up and I see her having a rough time. And it's like, well, we're both having a rough time right now. So let me just absorb both of ours, right? She's like, for example, she's in the kitchen, she's doing the dishes and my daughter's screaming her head off and like the dog's got poop stuck on its butt. And like, yeah, I'm working and I've got my things to do and I've got my responsibilities. But in that moment, I got to be like, I'm going to go rescue her. And I'm going to say, okay, why don't you go take a bath or like she likes doing high fitness. Like, okay, go do a high fitness class or just get away for a second or let me take over. Even though I'm swamped at the moment, it's those moments where it's like, I'm giving 100%. I've got to make sure that she doesn't crack. Yeah? She's my teammate. And if, to take it to cycling, if your teammate's up the road, drilling it in a breakaway, you know what I mean? And then the breakaway gets caught, you need to now flick off the front. You need to attack and make their work matter. And so it's just sort of the same thing, right? It's like I see her hurting and she's draped over the bars and tongues in the spoke and she's just rough. And that's when I got to step up. So if you can honestly to yourself say, dude, I give 100% to you. And there's no doubt 100% is a unique way to, it's like 100% is 100%. Okay. Not 98, not 95. I think for the most part, a lot of couples are given 80 to 90% because you'll see them struggling and you're kind of like, well, I'm struggling too. Like, just handle it. Just figure it out yourself. But that's where that extra bit comes in. And that's where it gets really difficult. But When you do that, then you can expect from your significant other that they know you'll return the favor and that you've got their back. And so when I go do these trips, it's so hard on my wife. You know what I mean? She's got to manage 2 kids. Like, she got to manage the house. You know, there's just a lot going on. So when I get back from these trips, I really try to make sure to reciprocate the amount of support that she gives me. And at any moment, I give 98%, then she'll give 95, and then I'll give 92, and then 85, and then 71, and then 62, and then all of a sudden you're just like, I give 0 fucks. Because, you know, I was having an issue, and you didn't do a damn thing. Like, you didn't help me with this thing. You know, and so then why, if they didn't help you, why are you going to help them? And it's easy to get into that rut. It's hard to get out of it. It's hard to be the bigger person and be like, okay, you know what? Yeah, my significant other kind of has been sucking. And even though I tell them they suck, they don't change it. They're just stuck in a rut. And so why should I be the bigger person? Why should I be the one to like support them or help them? And I know we're going deep with this, dude. We're going deep, dude. We're cave dwellers right now. We're going deep into the psyche. But so, you know, you gotta just, like, what do you want? You want a good, solid relationship? Okay, well, it takes work. And it takes work on both ends, for sure. But someone's got to make the initiative to be like, all right, let's just get this back on track. And, you know, there's been several times in our relationship, my wife's and I relationship, where we got off the same page, and we both got into sort of grooves of just doing our own thing and not really paying attention to each other. And, you know, I wouldn't give her kisses in the morning, and it's like barely say goodbye to her if I went out and rode. You know, it's just like you just get into a comfortable zone, and then, you know, it starts to just kind of fall apart. And so then is when you're like, okay, I got to do something to show. I got to step up and be like, okay, I'm going to change something about whatever we have going on. I'm going to change the routine. I'm going to do something. I'm going to surprise her. I'm going to do something spontaneous. We're going to go on a little trip or whatever the case may be, right? There's just so many different, like, it applies to everyone differently. But if at all your significant other or your partner, your even your friends, dude, whatever, like, you want good people around you. You need a solid team around you. But the only way you're going to have a solid team is if you're a solid team on their team. You know? Be a good teammate, you'll have good teammates. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. Me and my wife got together when we were 18. And we're still together. And I'm 34. Just turned 34 yesterday. Happy birthday to me. I'm actually eligible for Masters racing now, which is slightly depressing. Because I turned 35 at the end of 2020. You know what I mean? So it's actually your racing age. So even though I'll be 34 all race season, I'm actually classified as 35. So I'll be racing some Masters races, boys. I don't know, dude. I'm actually really on the fence of that. I think Masters races are cool because it sort of gives you more of a realistic expectation. Like, you don't have guys that are just training nonstop and they're basically pros, because that's not what I am. But also, I want to race the best of the best. I don't want to race a division where it's like, well, a bunch of guys were disqualified because they were too fast and too young. Anyway, that's the top of the second timed segment. So now we're going to go into the third timed segment. All right, so now we're going into the third timed segment, and the first three, like, I would kind of almost consider at the top of this climb. I guess we were past halfway, but I was still not really feeling tremendous. I was sort of feeling good at first, but I was kind of yo-yoing back and forth. But anyway, at the top of this climb, when we did the little extra out and back, after that, after we descended, I don't know, whatever was going on me internally sort of blew out, and then I felt actually super good for the last like 20 or 30 miles. There's my coach, Tony, ATP coaching. So now on this one, I don't know why, but I didn't film the whole thing. right? It's like broken up into pieces. So, sorry. I think that I was running low. Usually, I'll take 2 or 3 GoPro batteries with me, but I think that I was running out of card storage. I think that I only had like 45 minutes left on the card. So then I kind of just broke it up. So this isn't the full climb, but you know what I mean? You'll survive. So on this one, what did I get? I did 31 minutes, 52 seconds. Ouch. 24 minutes, 15 seconds was by Benjamin Wright, the hill climb champion. That's ridiculous. That's 6, 7, about 8 minutes faster than me. But also, like, I was like filming other stuff during this point. Like, I was low zone 3, really. I mean, at first I was really trying to go hard. I was hoping that my legs were going to come to me. They never really did, but this road was very pretty. This is probably the highlight of the this section. This time section and then the little extra out and back was, to me, probably the highlight. Like in the video I said, dude, I'm a sucker for canopy trees. Like the trees going over the road. Dude, it's so cool. It's beautiful. And it's just neat. This road is really well paved. There wasn't really any traffic. So, I mean, we're way out there. I don't know where we are, actually. But I believe we're way out in the middle of nowhere. These type of woods, I don't know if you can hear this craziness in the background, but my daughter, I'm on baby duty right now, and she's crushing the kitchen, dude. She is crushing the kitchen, bro. So, it happens. It happens. My wife, we were just talking about relationships, right? So talking about my wife, I could just sort of feel like she's had a lot with my daughter today. And so usually she takes my daughter and picks up my son from school. But she's just going to go drive by herself, kind of get away for a minute. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like much, man, but when you have 2 kids and when you don't work, like we're home with the kids all the time, any little moment of just kind of just by yourself is glorious. I'm not saying I don't love my kids. I love my kids. But sometimes, bro, they are full gas. And right now, my daughter is just full gas in the kitchen. And I can't see her. So I can just hear things just crashing in the kitchen. So it's a problem for future me. Current me is just focusing on this deal. So the front group, all those fast guys, I often really like when I'm with the front group, when I'm with the fast guys. Even if I'm not a fast guy, just doing everything I can to stay with those fast guys, like riding outside of my comfort zone, riding with guys better than me. It's just a good way to get better. And especially when you travel and you ride with guys from different areas, the opportunity to get to ride with some of these future national champions in the pink jerseys and current national champions and just, legit dudes. I really wanted that opportunity. It just wasn't really happening. Also, the other bit is that my coach, Tony, I'm riding with him. And this isn't a vegan excuse. I'm not trying to say I went slow because of Tony. But definitely wanted to ride with Tony. I didn't want to just leave him. And the Garden State Fondo, the climbs are so small and short that it's not that big of a deal. But here, like this 30-minute climb, I think my coach did it in like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Dude, that's big. So when he's heavy and he's not a climber, the discrepancy in time gets pretty massive. So, potentially maybe I could have just turned myself inside out to like barely hang on the back of the front group. Maybe. but I wouldn't have had fun. And that's what's so amazing about fondos. Bro, let's talk about how awesome fondos are. So, a fondo, I think it's just the future. Okay, like road racing crits, like crits are cool. But I think road racing is dying. And I honestly, I don't know. I think it won't be long before the road races are no longer a thing. Because this is basically a road race if you want it to be. You know what I mean? But you get so much more out of it. So you don't necessarily have to train 20 hours a week to come and enjoy this ride, right? But at a road race, you're not going to enjoy it because you're going to get dropped instantly if you're not training. Not that you have to train 20 hours a week, but you know what I'm saying. And so, you can come here and, okay, like if I had friends that were Cat 5s and 3s and some that don't even race, like we would never be able to be in a race scenario together like at a road race. But here at a Fondo, when you have timed segments, that is exactly what you get to do. You get to ride with your homies, and then when it comes time to measure the peeps, you do, and then you regroup and you have a good time. And so there's just so much more up for grabs, so much more to offer. Where if you're not feeling good, then you can just ride and enjoy it. But if you are feeling good, then you can race and you can get a podium and you can jersey, and you know what I'm saying? Like there's just so much. There's a race aspect to it, but if say you got a flat in a road race, dude, game over. How long did you drive? You drove 4 hours. You woke up early and you might as well just go home. Like that sucks. But here, you get a flat and it's like, yeah, I guess this one time segment is got ruined. And you'd only have to get a flat on that time segment. So that's the thing, is like the margin of things going out of your control and ruining your day is just such a small margin of a small window, So I think that Fondo's, what's he doing? I think he doesn't want me to get on his wheel. He was trying to put some time on me. Me and him were battling for podium positions, and so I think he was trying to tell me to go away. But he actually ends up pulling me into the finish. He was really strong here towards the end. But just what I'm saying, dude, is that a Fondo, it has what you want for everything. One, you get to race alongside guys that you would never get to race against, like top tier pros. I got to ride with Taylor Finney and Dirty Kanza. Like that's crazy. You're never gonna get to do that in a road race, but here you do, and you get to meet new people and you get to have fun. So Fondos are awesome, and I think it's gonna be the future. I think more and more Fondos are gonna get way more competitive. And so there is a aspect of like, well, are all the racers going to just like take over Fondos? Because it sort of used to be racers race, and then guys who aren't really racers go to Fondos but still kind of want to be somewhat competitive. So then they measure the peeps and it's all good. But now it's like you come like especially here at the Alpine Loop Gran Fondo, bro, to win, you would have to be a world tour rider. Like Benjamin Wright, there's no way any random dude's going to take him down. And like the top 5 are all just legit as fuck. So, you can't be a couch potato and expect to podium the overall. And so it's going to get more and more and more like that, where heavy hitters come out and enjoy these, the Fondos. But I think, dude, it's just, for me, if I'm going to drive far, if I'm going to spend time, going back to, relationship stuff, is that with my wife, dude. Okay, so I went and did this one race this year. I was meeting up with Jasper. He's got a YouTube channel, and we were going to do this whole big thing. Was so many moving parts. My daughter. Oh my. My daughter knocked over a huge cup and spilt everything. So anyway, what I was saying is that I went out to this race. I stayed the night before, so I left because the race was at 8 and it was like a 4-5 hour drive. Okay, I do all of this preparation. I've spent all this time away from family, from work, and then I got a flat in the first 5 minutes, and that was it. Done. Then I get in a car and I drive back to the start finish line, and it's like, okay, and then I drive 5 hours home. And so it's like when I'm thinking back on it, dude, a 10-hour drive. I slept in the van the night before, like a total of something like 24 hours, right? 20 to 24 hours. And I have nothing to show for it. So then when I come home and my wife's like, how'd you do? And I'm just like, pissed. It's like, I didn't do anything. I got a fight. You know, then, well, she doesn't want to hear that because she's invested her time and her energy for my joy and my happiness. And it's like, well, I'm not even happy. So it's kind of like an insurance policy, right? Like you, fondos, if something bad goes wrong, what really has gone wrong? Like you still get to have an amazing ride. You still get to do kind of what you came out there to do. So anyway, dude, friggin' fondos rip, dude. They rip. And I think it's going to be the future, and I think it's going to be more and more really unique fondos coming out. And again, like I said, they're going to probably get really competitive, which I think is all good, dude. It's great, and more people get to race alongside guys that are going to push them outside their comfort zone. So you can see Andreas just smashing. And this part of the segment, so like this is the biggest timed segment, and the end is very flat. So coming over the top with him, if I wasn't on his wheel, I probably wouldn't have been on the box. Like if he had gone this hard without me on his wheel, there's a good chance I could have lost a minute easily right here, if not more. You know? And what is my overall, if I look at, I'm sorry about my daughter, dude. She is just having a blast. 2 minutes. So I won. I was 2 minutes faster than second place overall for the age category, for 30 to 34. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my goodness. I probably should not be recording this. Anyway, here's the finish. Bam, wham. Thank you, ma'am. And then we go up to the top, right? We rode up to the top, came back. You should watch the video. But there's the final time segment. Okay, so we're hitting the final time segment here. It's short, it's steep. We're like 109 miles into the ride. To the right, my fan club, they're cheering me on. So this is very close to the end of the ride. But what I want to tell you, dude, is crazy. So the winner of the whole event, Benjamin Wright, 19 years old, smashed it, beat second place by 9 minutes. Okay, whatever, dude. So fast. Second place, 39 years old. Fourth place, 48 years old. So Peter, 39, and George, 48, both putting into the young whippersnappers, getting on the overall box. You know? So, dude, I've got no excuses because these guys are killing it. Now, fourth place, 17, okay, junior. And then 10th place, another junior. So in the top 10, there's only 2 17-year-olds. But the rest of them, 38, 43, 39, 48, 39. Like, dude, crazy, right? So, yeah. The young bucks not representing in the overall. Just gives you hope, I guess. Gives me hope. So anyway, so we're flying up this, and this, so after the first 3 time segments, I was feeling like total garbage. But then after the big descent, I don't know what, I came to life. I felt super good. The legs were pretty spent by the time hitting this, but I was able to get up and over it. But again, it goes back to what I in the very beginning was saying, is that, you know, you can fake it for 2, 3, 4 minutes, you know, but a 30-minute climb, dude, you have to have some legit fitness. Like, you can't come into a 30-minute effort thinking you're going to do good if you've not been putting in the training, not been putting in the work. Okay? So, I got over this pretty good. I mean, I ran to the end, ran to the finish, and my position, you know, I got 20th on this. So 20th overall, first in my age group. Get over the top, bam, and dude, this scenery right here is so cool. Like, you have the forest to your left and like the rolling hills to your right.
Bro, this was a beautiful fondo. It's great weather, great roads, great people. I think that most fondos are gonna follow alongside something like that. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed and you have a wonderful rest of your training on your indoor trainer. As always, Vegan Cyclist.
Yeah.